Day 14. A reporter asked Donald Trump when the war would be over. Trump said, "When I feel it in my bones." Not when Iran surrenders, not when the Strait of Hormuz reopens, not when a ceasefire is signed. When the president feels it in his bones. That is the timeline for ending the most disruptive military conflict the global energy market has ever seen. On the same day, the Pentagon announced it was sending 2,200 Marines to the Middle East. The USS Tripoli, an amphibious assault vessel, is sailing toward the Gulf carrying a Marine Expeditionary Unit. Helicopter gunships, armed infantry, armored vehicles, and landing craft designed to put troops on hostile shore. The mission? Reopen the Strait of Hormuz. This is the turning point nobody wants to say out loud. What began as an air campaign is now becoming something else. The Marines are not bombing crews, they are infantry. The people you send when you need to take something physically, hold something physically, or fight someone physically. Pete Hegseth held a press conference Friday. He said U.S. and Israeli forces have struck more than 15,000 Iranian targets since February 28th. He said Iran's leadership is desperate, hiding underground, cowering. Then he used a specific word. That is what rats do. Then he said something that shifted the tone. We know the new so-called not-so-supreme leader is wounded and likely disfigured. No evidence provided. He pointed to the absence of video as proof. His father dead. He's scared. He's injured. He's on the run. It's a mess for them. Who's in charge? Iran may not even know. 1 hour later in Tehran, a public rally was held for Al-Quds Day. Standing at that rally, visible to photographers, President Masoud Pezeshkian and Ali Larijani, head of Iran's Supreme National Security Council, both in public. Neither underground, neither cowering, neither behaving like a rat. The rats, it appears, had planned a public rally. This is the information gap that defines Day 14. The Secretary of Defense described Iran's leadership as broken, hidden, and disfigured. The Iran he was describing simultaneously held a mass public rally attended by its president and top security official in broad daylight. Between those two realities lies the actual state of this war, and into that gap, the United States is sailing 2,200 Marines. The strait is 33 kilometers wide at its narrowest point. On one side is Iran, with coastlines stretching hundreds of kilometers. On that coastline, Iran has spent decades positioning anti-ship missiles and hardened installations, mobile launchers, underground facilities. These systems have ranges measured in hundreds of kilometers, meaning a battery located inland can still reach ships in the middle of the strait. The United States has struck more than 15,000 targets, but Iran's coastal missile infrastructure was built to survive sustained air attack. Launchers are mobile, missiles stored underground. Crews disperse and relocate. Destroying a launcher takes one strike. Destroying every launcher, every mobile unit, every underground site, every crew, that is a different order of magnitude. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said Navy escorts could begin soon. He added that before escorts begin, the military is planning to target land-based missiles. The sequencing is logical. The problem is Iran has had 2 weeks to watch American targeting and adjust accordingly. Every mobile launcher in a fixed location on February 27th is now somewhere else. The Marines are not being sent to operate in a cleared environment. They are being sent to force the creation of one. The mission, seizing Iranian-held islands or establishing positions to screen commercial shipping, is what Marine Expeditionary Units were designed for. The MEU can launch helicopter assaults, land amphibious forces, and establish perimeter faster than any other American unit. It can also suffer casualties faster in exactly these conditions. Iranian leadership has said publicly, Iran has unlimited missiles. It has America by the throat. It does not intend to let go. Whether true or rhetoric, it describes the environment the Marines are sailing into. The shipping numbers tell the story. Only 77 ships have transited the strait so far in March 2026. Same period last year, 1,229 ships. A collapse of 94%. More than 1,000 cargo vessels are anchored outside waiting, insurance withdrawn. Shipping companies will not send crews into those waters at any price. European nations are no longer waiting for American naval escorts. They are talking directly to Iran, asking permission to pass. India secured an arrangement allowing 2 LPG tankers through. Countries formerly aligned with the United States are quietly negotiating with the country the United States is bombing daily. This is Iran's strategy when it works. Not military victory, but political fragmentation. CENTCOM's planners acknowledged to Congress they had not fully incorporated a scenario where Iran would actually close the strait. It was considered a possibility, not a plan. The plan was quick campaign. Yataba discredited. Iranians rise up. War ends in days. Trump said 4 days, maybe a week. On day 14, 2,200 Marines are sailing toward the world's most critical energy corridor. The bones have not felt it yet. Here is what the deployment of 2,200 Marines actually tells you in military logic. You do not send a Marine Expeditionary Unit to a theater where the air campaign has achieved its objectives. You send an MEU when the air campaign has not achieved a specific objective that now needs other means. The objective is the strait. 2 weeks of the most intensive American air campaign since World War II have not reopened it. The drone boats are still there. The mines are still there. The coastal missiles are still there or relocated, but not destroyed. 94% collapse in shipping is still happening. So the Marines are coming. This escalation has economic logic. The global economy cannot sustain 94% reduction in Gulf shipping indefinitely. Oil prices have traded between $88 and $117 per barrel in 2 weeks. The Strategic Petroleum Reserve has released 400 million barrels attempting to suppress prices. But that reserve is finite. The solution is the Strait, and the Strait will not be reopened by Pentagon press conferences. Hegseth said, Friday, this is the most intense bombing yet. He said Iran's air force is gone, navy is gone, missiles being depleted, leadership underground. He put a $10 million bounty on Mojtaba Khamenei. 9 other Iranian officials were added to the list. The United States government is offering money to anyone who can provide information on the supreme leader's location, the same man it cannot confirm is alive or dead or wounded or functional. Trump told G7 leaders in a private call that Mojtaba is not in good shape and nobody knows who is the leader, so there is no one that can announce surrender. Read that carefully. The president told the world's 7 largest economies that his war has reached a point where no one on the Iranian side is in position to end it, even if they wanted to. There is no phone number to call, no authority to negotiate with. Mojtaba is supreme leader, and the IRGC answers to him or whoever is actually making decisions in his place. Mojtaba cannot be reached, and the IRGC, which has institutional interest in continuing this war, is not looking for a way out. Steve Witkoff, Trump's Middle East envoy, sent a message through Oman. Larijani responded publicly at the Al-Quds Day rally by refusing. That is Iran's answer. A public appearance in Tehran on the day America said Iranian leaders are hiding underground, with a message that the Strait stays closed, the war continues, and the only acceptable outcome is American withdrawal from the region. And yet the Marines are sailing. Because what else do you do when the air campaign has run 2 weeks and the Strait is still closed and the bones have not told you when it ends? This is not Afghanistan. Iran has ballistic missiles, drone boats, sea mines, coastal anti-ship batteries, a proxy network from Iraq to Lebanon to Yemen, a supreme leader whose location and condition are unknown to American intelligence, and a population that, according to CIA assessment, has not risen up and shows no signs of doing so. It has something Afghanistan did not have: oil and the ability to use control of the world's most critical energy corridor as leverage against every country that needs fuel. The Marines will arrive. The bombing will continue. Trump will wait to feel it in his bones. The bones may be waiting a long time. In Tehran, at an Al-Quds Day rally, Larijani and Pezeshkian stood in front of tens of thousands while Hegseth called Iranian leaders rats. The crowd was chanting, the cameras were rolling, there was no bunker, there was no hiding. There was a very public message to Washington. We are still here, we are still standing, and you are still sending more. 2,200 Marines are sailing toward the Strait of Hormuz. 13 Americans are already dead. Trump says he'll know when it's over when he feels it. Iran says it will keep fighting until the last American base in the Middle East is closed. One side has a gut feeling, the other has a strategy.